Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. I'm Honey Lee, and this is my WIP Progress for January 2025. My WIP is titled Beehive Volume 1, a collection of 3 short stories, all of which will later branch out to longer individual series. This month was something. Originally, I was trying to not take any classes for the 2025 spring semester so that I could make major progress with Beehive Volume 1. For those of you who don't know, I am a full-time student working on my associates in business. I also only qualify for a single scholarship. I got it because I had a high GPA in high school, and in order to keep it, I need to maintain a 2.75 GPA while taking 9 credits. Which is easy. I've gotten A's and B's all my life, but the thing I didn't realize was that trying to be a great student while also trying to produce a great first book would put a toll on me. It ended in me being an okay student and an okay writer, which bothered me. I knew I could do better with more time, so I thought, let's take a semester off. Thankfully, I can fill out a form to hold the scholarship money for a semester. Sadly, my parents had zero faith in the break being a good call. Long story short, they took a break from college, which ended in them returning to school years later. They took that break because they had yours truly. My father fears that I'll be in an endless loop of dead-end jobs or not return to school at all, on top of them thinking I sit in my room twiddling my thumbs in my free time as well. Is that my fault? Partially. I have a nasty habit of forgetting my work at my desk. I don't volunteer information about what I do. At the same time, they follow my socials. They can see what I do. None of it is a secret, and social media is the best way to see what people do in their off time. So, in other words, it took time to try and convince them otherwise. Too much time, actually, but that the scholarship money got applied to my account, and I was now locked into the spring 2025 semester. Can't you tell how happy I am about that? At the end of the day, I love them. That whole interaction taught me a lot. Mainly to talk about what you do with the people around you, or else you'll be this mysterious figure. And if they know nothing, they'll assume nothing. After accepting what my days will look like for the next 5 months, days before classes began, I got sick. Yay! So sick that I practically missed the whole first week of classes. And the day I did go to class, I was so out of it and so unprepared the entire time. All of a sudden, I was staring at the final week of January, still needing to finish the goals I set for BV1. Did I do it? Find out as I talk about each short story in detail. First, let's talk about MPHL. In 2024, I was stuck in the fieldwork stage with this story. In this stage, I am visiting locations and or creating locations that are featured in the story. This helps with world building and having references for art. Since I'm a broke college student, I cannot travel right now. That just leaves trying to replicate what is in the story. Minecraft is the cheapest and easiest way to do it. The only things I gotta build are the MC's house and the MC's friend's house. First, I gathered some reference photos from Pinterest and Google Maps, which was relatively easy for the most part. Building them is where I got stuck. I do a pretty good job at building bases in Minecraft, but not good enough to replicate a house you'd see on the street. It was an intimidating project to complete because of that, so I left MPHL on the back burner until I got over it. At the time, I thought that I would get over my fear of botching the reference buildings before 2024 ended. Did I? No. No, I didn't. But did I get over it during the month of January in 2025? Yes. Yes, I did. I mainly gave myself a pep talk. That went something like this. I'll be playing Minecraft, which is a game I enjoy playing. I'll be building stuff too, which is also something I like to do. And since I'll be building in creative, I won't have to worry about resources. If I don't like how something looks, I'll break the block. If I don't like the whole thing, there's no harm in simply deleting the entire world. I know all of that was common sense. Sometimes the simplest of things are hard to see when it's covered up by chaos, which my 2024 year was filled with. Something that I realized while building the MC's house is that building his friend's house was highly unnecessary right now. Building her house would just take away from the other stories. With classes being in session, I'm gonna need all the time I can get, so I simply did not build it. In other words, I got it done. Whew. So that means that MPHL is now ready for its second round of editing. The next story is 910. In 2024, I was world building for the story. Throughout the year, I would come up with various details to help give the story more structure right out the gate. Even though I had a good amount of information to start out with, I still felt like there should be more. At the same time, this is only the first draft, and anything I write down will be edited later. So instead of continuing to beat around the bush, I just dived into the first draft of 910. After diving in, I realized that I did not know how to write parkour. Parkour is like 80% of the damn plot, so I'm back to the drawing board. Literally, I drew out the pathing for the MC to get an idea of what to do. I even asked TikTok. TikTok had nothing for me, so I was back on my own. By that point, I got busy and sick, leaving me very little time to complete 910's first draft. In the end, I got it done. This makes 910 ready to go on to its first round of editing, is what I would say if I was proud of this first draft. Since I did rush myself, there's a lot of scenes I would like to break down and rewrite. Since there is technically a short draft here, I'm going to go ahead and lengthen 910's editing stage from 1 month to 2. I'm either going to call it a first draft rewrite or simply say 910 is in the editing stage for 2 months. That will be decided at a later date. Anyway, let's talk about the final story, CL. In 2024, I was going through and editing the first draft of CL. When I finished the first look through, I realized that I needed to add in an entire scene in like 3 different chapters. Even though there was nothing wrong with needing to do that, the problem lies within time. School consumed a lot of that time, and when I wasn't thinking about school, it was on other things. Since I don't start classes until the 21st, I should have enough time to complete CL's first round of editing. These added scenes are chunky. I had to make outlines for them. In the end, I got it done, but I ended up adding in 2 scenes instead of the original 3. This is because chapters were turning out longer than I would have liked, and I was also adding in too much information for a short story. Beehive Volume 1 is supposed to be a collection of short story introductions to longer stories. I have to leave a little bit of wonder and mystery, so there is a want to read the series of CL. This makes CL ready to go on to its beta reading stage. So, I got everything done. MPHL is moving on to its second round of editing. I will look over the notes Sun and Moon left me, the research that I gathered, as well as utilize the reference I made in order to better flesh out MPHL as a whole. 910 is moving on to its first round of editing. I'll read through and make notes on what should be changed, added, and removed. CL is moving on to its beta reading stage. I have already confirmed with Sun and Moon, which are my beta readers, by the way. And I guess that's all for the January 2025 WIP recap for Beehive Volume 1. Same time next month,